What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm making this video because I'm living in England and I'm starting to realise that life here is so weird. And like, I was living in Thailand, in the nature, in this beautiful environment, and honestly I really loved it, but I came back home for the reason I came back home. But you know, this is my first time in the last year living in, you know, a country that you consider, I don't know, first world, back in like a normal flat and stuff, and it's actually been really strange. And there's things that I just keep thinking and I'm just like, what the hell? I don't know, it's so weird because like basically the first thing I've noticed, or one of the first things I've noticed, is that there's no bugs. There is no bugs in England. Like, it's madness, really. And I remember being here before and being absolutely petrified of spiders. And then I was cleaning out my mum's shed and I just went in there, just like waltzed in there and just started pulling things out. And there were spiders in there, but to me, they just didn't look like spiders anymore because I've seen some big spiders. Do you know what I mean? I've walked through nature in Thailand and there's bugs around, and you know, there's things that fly into your room all the time, and I didn't realise how much I'd actually like become less scared of bugs, because it was really a big thing for me before. Like, I hated bugs, and really there's none here. At least there's none here now that I see, you know what I mean? So you know, in Thailand, spiders will just be like building homes in your home, like every 10 seconds you take a cobweb down and there's a new one up the next morning. But here, you know, there's actually pretty much no spiders, you know, other than the ones in my mum's shed, but even still I wasn't really scared of them. And my brother, I'm living with my brother and he's like 18, and I've kind of got to guide him into like what it's like to live by yourself and stuff like that, and sort of teach him a little bit about how to live, like, you know, as an adult. And he dropped something on the floor, like, you know, when he was putting it in the bin, a little bit of leftover food. And I was like, right, obviously I'm going to have to like say to him, hey, like, when this happens, maybe just pick it up, da-da-da. And my reason being, like, you know, bugs will come in, and, you know, there'll be bugs that will be you attract. And then it's been like, I need to take the time to sit and say it to him. I've got to have a meeting with him, but there hasn't been the time. So I've left it because I want to point it out to him. And I was looking at it just now and I was like, there's no ants. Like, how are there no ants? And like, there's a point in life where you live in a house and you've never gone and lived out in nature and that, and ants, it's not normal to have ants in the house, but living in Thailand, it's so normal to have ants everywhere. Do you know what I mean? They could crawl across the walls, across the ceilings. They're always on the kitchen bench tops. Like, ants become a thing that are just everywhere. As soon as you drop something, there's ants there ready to clean it up, and there's no ants here. And I'm like, oh, like, where are the ants and where are all the bugs that are supposed to be eating that food that's on the floor right now? So that's really weird. And as much as it seems kind of like, you know, in your imagination it's nice, and actually like when you've lived in this environment forever, that's good. You know, you don't want bugs coming into your house and all that kind of stuff. But for me now, it feels really kind of like stale, that there's no additional life to observe. Like, you know, you watch the ants and you watch what they do and you're like fascinated by it, and you kind of learn, and you look at them and you think, wow, like, look what they're doing. And there's none of that. And I didn't realise what that was until coming back and kind of like now realising that those things aren't there to look at. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't just look out the window and see a spider building a web, or something flying around, or a toad that's like nesting in some bamboo. And you hear stuff like this, trains. I've got a train line like there, and I've noticed there's no sound of nature. Maybe in the morning a little bit of birds chirping, but there's no nature sound. It's air, and that's kind of strange too. So yeah, it's been really weird. Another thing that's kind of weird for me is like white walls. You know, I got so used to sort of like living in wooden homes, and that's beautiful. There's something so nice about living in wooden homes. And now it's like I look at doors and I look at corners and I look at white walls, and I find it strange. Let's just say strange. And yeah, like, you know, this type of a way of living I'm finding isn't necessarily for me, but I don't feel like I'm supposed to be anywhere else. I know I'm supposed to be here right now, so I'm not upset about it, but I am definitely like looking at it differently, like, wow, how did I do this for so long? And like literally just not even know that I was doing it for so long, if you know what I mean. So yeah, white walls is another strange thing. Curtains are weird. Curtains are so weird. Like, when I moved into this place, it came with the curtains and they're bright pink, or like a pinky burgundy colour, and I was like, right, I'm not feeling this. I don't know what curtains I want. When I lived in Melbourne, I had just plain white curtains, so I flipped them over just to see what white curtains might look like, and I'm just like, I don't like curtains. I don't like curtains, actually. And you know, like in Thailand, the wooden huts, the windows open, and you look out on nature, and then they close at night, you know, and boom, that's it, you're in a wooden box. But here, obviously, the windows all the time, so you kind of have to have some form of a curtain, because it's going to be weird, like, if people can see into your home at night whilst your light is on. So I have to figure out what I want to do with the curtains. I think I want to do some macrame, some macrame, and make my own sort of curtain thing that's not so traditional, like, you know, typical curtain type thing. But yeah, that's another strange thing for me. Not being able to just look out the window and see nature, you know, like, and see tropical trees. That I do miss, and it's very peaceful to be able to see that, and that's quite beautiful. Getting around on a little moped, I know you can do that here, but there was something about getting around on a moped that was just easy, really easy. And it's funny that this world, you want a really nice car to drive around in, and it's not a surprise. You know what I mean? Like, it feels nice to drive around in a nice car, but at the same time, it's just this object that, I don't know, it's just this object that you pay so much money for, to drive around in a nice car to places that maybe you don't even really want to be going to. Whereas this scooter, it's a tool to get from A to B, whereas a car here is a thing to flash, and you know, stuff like that. So that's been kind of weird. Is there anything else that I find weird? I mean, supermarkets are kind of weird. I got really used to going to the market. Yeah, anything else? I don't know, but it's just a very strange transition that I didn't think would be as strange as it is, but it is. You know, I'm definitely finding that I really loved living in Thailand, and I loved that style of life. Oh, drinking water from the tap is really strange. That is another thing that's really strange. For some reason, like, water from the tap is weird, and it's always like cold. Obviously it's winter here, so it probably would be, but it's cold, and it tastes like water from a tap. It definitely tastes like different. And I don't know what natural water exactly tastes like, because you know what I mean, in Thailand you have to drink it from whatever system they get the water from. But the water here definitely has a sort of to it, you know, like that's all I can really say, but it has its own sort of taste. Cleaned, it has a cleaned taste or something. There's something about the water that is very strange, very, very strange. And you know, obviously I'm challenged by consumerism and all that kind of stuff, but that's probably not for this video. But this video is just kind of highlighting the weird and interesting things that you know, are in England compared to Thailand. And I can't think any more off the top of my head, but yeah, man, it's definitely strange, I will say that, to be back in I don't know, I guess a first world country, but at the same time I'm loving being able to make these comparisons, because I think you know, it's really important for me, and I'm happy to be around friends and family and stuff like that, because yeah, as much as I do miss aspects of Thailand and living in nature, you know, the hope is that later I can get back to that place, and for now, like, enjoy what I've got here, which is the connections and that stuff, and even just looking and seeing a different world, and looking at this world that I actually came from, that I grew up in, through different eyes, and not just through different eyes, but also seeing the transition of England as a country, which I think is huge since I was last here. I haven't been in England for, like, you know, living here for like 7-8 years, because I was living in Australia, and that alone was a different culture to me, compared to being here, at least the place that I was and the lifestyle I was living. So it's quite fascinating, really, to witness what it's like to live in a modern day world. And oh, hot water comes from the tap. Hot water comes from the tap, and I burn my hands all the time, because in Thailand there's no hot water from the taps, at least in the places that I lived. And here it's hot, and it's like, oh, whoa, the water is hot from the tap and it burns me. And that's very strange, but that's a good thing, because I like washing up with hot water. It's quite annoying in Thailand not having that hot water to wash up with. So I'd probably say that's probably like actually a bonus. So yeah, that's it really. But I might post more of these videos as time goes by and as I find out more weird things that happen, or weird things that I kind of like notice living here, as you know, from living in Thailand. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll have loads more videos coming to the channel. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Love all your comments, love all that stuff, and you know, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.